All right, here we are. Another episode of Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Chase Whitney. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, you're able to trickle in here in the next couple of minutes. I've got another update for our latest Orange County housing report with some great information and data to share. So, hop on in. I will first give the beer of the week a go. I had this before. Thanks to Annalise for turning me on to it. This is a delicious beer from Central California, Kern River Brewing. It's called the Just Delicious IPA. Very smooth. I've actually had it I think the bottle's a bit better, but bottles seem to be a little harder to find. But the cans, Bevmo, Total Wine, that kind of thing. And just absolutely delicious. So hope you're having a good day. Hope you had a good week. Since the last time, I'm going to hop on here and share my screen. And let's talk about the latest Orange County Housing Report. Again, if you aren't familiar with these reports, this is a local housing economist partner that we subscribe to and are partnered with. They provide bi-weekly updates on the local market. And I kind of break these down every 2 weeks when they do come out on a Monday night and share the latest updates with respect to the whole county of Orange. And then break down a couple of the cities that we deal with most commonly, since we're here locally in Cypress and the surrounding areas. So if you have any questions on a specific city you want me to break down live or ask any questions, comment box is here for you there to do that. And I can certainly address any questions you have. But thanks for tuning in again. Let's get right into it. So the topic of the week now is foreclosures. Where are they? Are they coming? We've heard a lot about forbearances, and there's been talk of down the road. What are the foreclosures going to be looking like? So it's kind of break down what he sees in the market and talk about it. And again, this is I believe, a 10-page, 11-page report. Happy to email you the whole PDF so you have it on hand. Just let me know again in the comments and drop me a line there. Happy to shoot it over to you. So little anecdote in the beginning, talking about parents and kids and worrying about worst case scenarios as they start to get older and when they get behind the wheel and that kind of a thing. So it jumps right down to the bottom. He says, due to the recession, everybody is jumping to the worst case scenarios for housing and the inevitable wave of foreclosures to come. Everyone's been talking about the forbearances when they come up, what's going to happen to all those homes and those people that have been laid off or that are in forbearance, how are they going to get out of it? He says it's crucial to immediately point out the simple fact that just because the economy is in the midst of a recession does not mean that the housing market will tank, that values are going to go down, and many homeowners are going to lose their jobs due to foreclosures or short sales. In fact, in the past 5 recessions, only 2 have even led to declines in home values. It's a crazy statistic. The recession from 91 and 2008, he says, were the 2. Both of them were fueled by asset bubbles in housing that eventually popped. And today's, he goes on a little bit later, I'll talk about, but he talks about the recession that we're in right now is not caused by an asset bubble or caused by a specific economic factor. This is a completely unrelated topic as to why we are seeing this recession going on. He says, today, there are only 11 foreclosures and 7 short sales in all of Orange County. It represents 0.4, that's less than half of 1% of all the active inventory in Orange County. Compare that to January of 2009 when there were 5,104 distressed listings. 44% of the market in January of 2009 were distressed short sales and foreclosures. And then breaking this down further for Orange County specifically, I looked at the numbers. There are 0, as of this report last night, there are 0 foreclosures and 0 short sales in all of North Orange County. So basically, for the furthest north, that I could find was, I believe, it was Newport Beach. Santa Ana, I believe, had another one too. But I mean, Cypress, Yorba Linda, Brea, Los Alamitos, Stanton, Buena Park, Anaheim, none in any of those cities. So right now, I know we get asked a lot, a little bit less today, but we do get asked all the time about foreclosures. I want to buy a short sale. I want to buy a foreclosure. They just don't exist right now. Moving on, he says, today the supply of homes to purchase is low, the demand is high, and home values are on the rise. Multiple offers are once again the norm. Homes are flying off the market and into escrow, and tight lending qualifications continue to be the bedrock and the strength of housing. So we've talked a lot about the housing market as a whole. We are in the hottest market we've been in 8 to 10 years with respect to demand, with respect to days on market, how quick homes are selling. I wrote down a little note here. You might be able to see my chicken scratch there, but the last 2 that we put on the market, we were able to open up escrow in less than a week on both of them. Both of them had multiple offers, and by that I mean more than 2 or 3. Quite a few offers, and both of them went into escrow significantly above the asking price. And that's just a function of the market, and of course with how we present homes and get them ready for sale, because who you do hire matters. We can talk about that a whole other day. But the one specific case here I will mention, this was on the market with a couple different agents before we took over, trying to help these folks out of their situation they needed some help with. And it was on and off the market for about 2 years, and crickets, didn't sell, were never able to put it together. We were able to jump in and help with them at the final hour, and got it prepared like we usually do. And we're able to get this sold for over $30,000 above asking price in 5 days, when it couldn't sell in the previous year and a half. So again, who you hire matters, and I'd love to share more about that privately. If you have any questions, just shoot me a message. So he goes on, the current recession is unprecedented. Recessions occur due to a weakness in one area of the economy. This is what I was talking about earlier. One area of the economy that is preceded by an implosion of an asset bubble. However, the current COVID-19 recession was instigated by a forced stop of the economy to allow us to slow the spread and get back on track. It was the pandemic that caused the recession, and not a single sector of the economy. This is precisely why the recovery has been distinctly different than a customary recovery. Housing has seen a V-shaped recovery, along with retail and manufacturing. A closer look at unemployment, this is interesting here too. A closer look at unemployment rates illustrate that it's affecting the lower wage earners. And I just see a handful of people hopping on. Give me a like or a comment below. I'd love to see that you're here. I don't know who's watching, but if you drop me a comment, I can see who's actually watching and make sure I address any questions that you have. So again, a closer look at unemployment rates illustrate that it is affecting lower wage earners. This is very, very, very interesting. According to the Wall Street Journal Bureau of Statistics, employment has only dropped 2% since December of 2019 for those with a bachelor degree, I'm going to assume, or higher. So college-educated and college-graduate people have experienced a 2% drop in employment, when we had a time when we were at, 30% unemployment? For 16 to 24-year-olds, employment has dropped by 20.6%. He talks about restaurants, movie theaters, amusement parks, etc., that are typically where the younger kind of first jobs, and I know you can work up the chain, of course. I'm not saying you can't, but that's a lot of where the unemployment has been hit. Younger workers have been hit the hardest, and younger lower wage workers or earners are oftentimes not the homeowners that have been affected by this. There are about 4 million homeowners in active forbearance, which is 7.5% of all active mortgages that are currently in a forbearance situation. Of all current forbearances, 77% have at least 20% equity in their home, and 90% have at least 10%. What does that mean, and how does that affect the future? It says, upon exiting forbearance, homeowners then can negotiate a payment plan to pay back the missed mortgage payments or defer the payments to the back end of their loans. If they're continuing to experience hardship, this is key. If they are continuing to experience a hardship and are forced to sell, most will have enough equity to tap into that will allow them to sell as a regular sale, take some money with them, and avoid the short sale or the foreclosure route. That's critical, right? He goes on, also with values on the rise, their equity positions will increase in time. Some will not be able to avoid becoming a foreclosure or short sale statistic. That's a 2021 story down the road. It will be more of a ripple in the market than a wave. The bottom line, do not count on a wave of foreclosures or short sales due to the economic fallout of the COVID-19 recession. This is his take. This is what he believes. This is not, we can't predict the future. I will say that I do agree with a lot of what he said here. And again, the most critical part, a couple of them that he outlines brilliantly, is the first thing is homeowner, the demographic of the average homeowner is not affected by the unemployment, right? Number one. Number two, if you're in forbearance or currently having difficulty making your payments, almost 80% or over 90% have more than 10% equity. And what that means is if you have enough, the cost to sell a home is typically between 5 to 7% with commissions, and of course escrow, title, and the fees are included. So if you have 10% equity, you're not short. You're not going to be in distress. You're not going to be a foreclosure or a short sale. You're going to be a regular sale. You might not walk away with a lot, right? But you're not going to be a statistic on the distressed sale, and you're not going to be in what's called a fire sale scenario where you have to sell by a certain date, to get out from under it. So very, very different situation than what we might think would be happening. Active inventory is down 3% since the last 2 weeks, the lowest level since tracking began for an August month since 2004. The active inventory reached a peak in May of 5,044 homes and has dropped by 12% since the peak of inventory. It appears as if 2021 is going to start at a record low level. I might get my chicken scratch there, effect on sellers and buyers. So the turn of the year is always kind of a question mark. Our market here in Orange County slows down a little bit towards the end of the year, but we do sell homes through Christmas, through Thanksgiving. If we lived in the Midwest or, the North where you're just dumped on in snow, if you're in Green Bay, you're probably not buying and selling much in the way of houses in December and January. So we're blessed with good weather here, but we do have a slowdown. We do, drop in inventory. You can see the chart on this next chart here. You can see as inventory, drops down towards the end of the year and then comes back in the early spring or late winter. However, what he's saying here is that he's predicting again, record low inventory to start the year. What that means for sellers is, again, the fewer homes on the market, the less competition, and that, again, makes your home stand out amongst nothing else to compete with. Take Cypress, for example. If you have one of the common floor plans, right, and you have what's called a Greenbrook Spacemaker 1, right? That's the house I used to have. It's the 2-story. There's literally hundreds of them in Cypress. That's a very, very common floor plan. If we're at regular inventory levels, you might have one to sell. You might have one of 3 that are on the market and one of 10 similar floor plans and similar sizes. If we're at record low levels of inventory, you might be the only 2-story, 2,700 square foot house, in that price point in Cypress. The fewer options buyers are going to have to compare yours with, the more likely they're going to be, chomping at the bit to buy your home. So again, demand drives prices up. Now for buyers, what does that mean? It means if you're on the fence, again, I've talked about this a lot, but if you're on the fence about buying, I wouldn't wait. You're going to lose selection, right? On the flip side of the coin now, you're going to lose selection, right? Right now we still have kind of 10% or 12% off the peak of inventory for the year, but there are still things out there to pick from. If you are waiting until December, January, February, we don't know what is going to happen with rates, when they're going to go back up, because they will. That is an absolute certain fact that they will go back up. Right now they're under 3%. We've talked about this again before, historic low interest rates. The election can take an effect on that. The new year, of course, what happens with the pandemic as time goes on. So again, the rates are not going to be at 3% forever. So right now, we've got a decent amount of inventory, all things considered, and a record low interest rates. I would not wait. It's going to be very, very tough to outsave the market. I've talked about this a little bit before, but if you are on a savings plan to try to get to 20% or try to get to 10% or whatever it might be, reach out and let me know. We might be able to talk about a different way to kind of go about that, to where you're not always chasing the market. Very, very tough to save more than what the market increases in that same specified period of time. Hope that makes sense. Demand, the number of new pending sales over the prior month increased 3%. This is the highest demand reading since September of 2012. The velocity of this current market is unprecedented for the summer months. Once the kids go back to school later in the month, anticipate demand to slowly start to drop. And then look at this graph, it's just unbelievable. Screen chart. I drew a couple of lines here. The red line, that's the peak of demand before the pandemic, right? So that's the first week of March. And then the bottom of it was the second week of April or so. We had this little tick up. And since then, it has been on a tear. And I've been waiting to see this slow down. This top yellow bar, it keeps going up. It's unbelievable. It says last year demand was at 2,606 homes, 375 fewer than, say, 20% fewer, 20% less demand last year this time than there is this year this time. Again, it's competitive if you're a buyer. If you are looking to buy something, it is imperative that you hire someone that knows what they're doing, that knows how to structure contracts, that knows how to navigate from the casual phase through the writing offers phase to getting your offer accepted. If every home on the market is getting, well, most homes on the market are getting 3, 4, 5 offers, and you fall in love with something, you don't want to be stuck with an agent that doesn't know how to write a good contract and doesn't know how to get you put in a position that will get your offer accepted amongst 3 or 4 competing buyers. Price is important, of course, but that's not the only term. And there's a lot of things that we can do to help with that being said. And again, on the selling side, higher demand, higher prices. It's unbelievable where we're at right now. In the past 2 weeks, the expected market time, how long it takes to sell a house, has dropped from 43 to 41 days. Strongest level since June of 2013. The last year, this time, it was an average of 86 days to sell a house in all of Orange County. So demand is literally more than double. I'm sorry, not demand. Market time is literally more than double as fast. Now let's break down a couple of cities. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. Let's break down a couple that we go through here. And if you have any questions about a certain city, let me know. I'm happy to get you the information or break it down live. So Anaheim inventory is up from 131 to 145 homes in all of Anaheim. The demand is also up, 4 more homes sold than the previous reporting cycle. And market time for Anaheim specifically is flat, give or take 1 or 2 from a few weeks ago. So how fast homes are selling is relatively flat for Anaheim again. Buena Park, again, active inventory is up from 45 to 51, so about a 14 or 13% increase in inventory. Demand went from 48 to 70, so a big jump in Buena Park's demand, how many homes, again, were pulled off the market. And 22% faster as far as how quick homes are selling, from 28 days a month ago to 22. Cypress, interesting. Inventory is down in Cypress from 37 to 35 homes. Demand is up just by 1, so not a ton there. And if you go a month ago to today, the time on market, expected time on market, went from 27 to 25. It's 8%, 9%. We'll call it flat for the sake of this argument. Real quick, Garden Grove inventory is down. Pending is way up from 79 to 114. That's crazy. That's what is that, 40%, 38% up. Homes are selling 40% faster this month than last month, or this time this month versus this time last month. La Palma, I do every now and again. It's such a small city where the data can be not skewed, but it cannot be very accurate because it's such a small city, and literally a number changing by 1 for La Palma can be a 50% difference. So I did bring it on here. Demand is down a little bit. Inventory is up a little bit. There's only 2 homes in all of La Palma for sale. Again, that's kind of why a lot of times I don't talk a ton about the data for La Palma, because, again, it's such a small sample size. Same thing with Los Alamitos. It is a little bit bigger, but inventory is down 30%. Demand is up about 10%. Homes are selling faster in Los Alamitos this month than last month. Rossmore, again, very unique, very eclectic and just different, but inventory is barely up. Demand is way up from 8 to 14. So, again, smaller sample size, but about a 40% increase there in demand. And homes are selling 40% faster this month than last month in Rossmore. And then Seal Beach, again, it's close, so I break it down. It's even more different and unique because you have everything from College Park East at the 900 to $1 million plus range, to the Gold Coast at 3-4 million, to the Hill, and then you got Leisure World. So that throws everything off. But since we're here, let's not skip it. Inventory is down from 113 to 94. Demand is up about 15%. 68 homes went into escrow the past 30 days. And then homes are selling about 28% faster in Seal Beach. So that is the breakdown for this week. I really appreciate you hopping on and staying with me the whole time. If you have any questions, comment below, shoot me an email, text, message. Very easy to get a hold of, as you all know. I'm happy to send this whole report over to you to review at a later date if you'd like to read it further. There's a lot of data on here that I don't break down live because it's just too much to handle for a lot of folks, but I'm happy to share it with you, and I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you next week.